You know that feeling, right? Where you desperately need something critical,
Mm.
maybe a tool, maybe some inventory,
Yeah.
and it's just, well, it's not where it should be.
Oh, definitely. Happens all the time.
Or, you try keeping track of valuable stuff and things just seem to vanish.
Yeah.
It's a huge challenge, isn't it?
Absolutely universal. Think
Yeah.
about a busy hospital ward, managing medications, or even a huge warehouse trying to track millions of items. It's complex.
It really is. But what if the storage itself could be smart? What if the cabinet, say, knew exactly what was inside all the time?
Ah, now you're talking about something different.
Exactly. Today, we're taking a deep dive into a technology that's doing just that, RFID Smart Cabinets.
Right.
And these aren't just, fancy cupboards. They're high-tech systems, really changing how inventory, medical gear, valuable assets, how they're all managed across loads of industries.
That's spot on. They use radio frequency identification, RFID, and the key thing, unlike, say, barcode scanning.
Which needs line of sight, one item at a time.
Precisely. RFID lets the cabinet read tags on multiple items all at once, automatically, without even opening the door.
So it's like a constant real-time inventory check.
Exactly. You always know what's in there, what's been taken out, what needs restocking. No manual scanning, no guesswork. That passive, always-on tracking, that's the real breakthrough here.
Okay, so our mission today is to unpack the incredible growth and the global impact of this technology.
And it is incredible.
Seriously, get this. This is where it gets really interesting. The global market for these cabinets.
Yeah.
Back in 2021, it was already valued at $1,352.1 million.
Which is a solid starting point.
Right, strong foundation. But it's expected to shoot up to almost $2 billion, $1,933.7 million actually, by 2025.
Just a couple of years away.
Yeah, and that it just keeps climbing, projected to hit a massive $894 million by 2033.
Wow.
So if you look at the growth rate, the compound annual growth rate, or CAGR, it's 9.215% over that whole period.
Which basically means the market's doubling every, 8 years or so?
Pretty much. That's phenomenal acceleration, isn't it?
It really is, and what's fascinating is why. That kind of growth points to a real global need for, better efficiency, tighter security, more automation in managing stuff.
It's not just about convenience, then.
Not at all. It's about optimizing critical operations, reducing loss. Think about high-value drugs needing strict tracking, or the sheer scale of e-commerce logistics. They need real-time visibility that older methods just can't deliver.
Okay, let's break down this growth a bit. Maybe look at it region by region, because the story gets even more interesting when you see where it's taking off.
Good idea.
So North America, for instance, it led the market in 2021, right? Pulled in $496.22 million.
Almost $500 million, yeah.
And that's projected to hit over $1.3 billion.
Sure.
$1,355.11 million by 2033. Still growing strong at an 8.7% CGR.
And within North America, it's really the United States driving a lot of that.
Makes sense.
Yeah, expected to go from about $405 million in 2021 to over $1 billion itself by 2033. It's largely down to their, advanced healthcare system and massive logistics networks.
You can see the immediate payoff there, I guess.
Absolutely. Hospitals are using these for expensive surgical tools, medications, implants, even tracking items specific to a patient. It cuts down waste, improves safety. The ROI is pretty clear.
And Canada and Mexico are growing too.
They are indeed. Catching up as their industries modernize, Canada's projected to reach around $157 million, and Mexico about $105 million by 2033. So solid growth across the continent.
Okay, so North America's strong.
Yeah.
But this need for efficiency, it's not just limited there, is there? Let's hop across to Europe.
Right. Europe's another really interesting case.
Their market was, about $286 million in 2021?
Just under $287 million, yeah. And it's expected to nearly triple by 2033, hitting almost $780 million. That's a similar growth rate to North America, actually, around 8.7%.
What's driving it there?
Well, a lot of it is strict regulations, especially for pharmaceuticals and medical devices. Traceability is a huge deal. Plus, you have factors like an aging population needing very efficient healthcare.
So countries like the UK, Germany, France are big players.
Definitely leading the charge. Germany alone is projected to hit over $170 million. The UK over $110 million by 2033.
Wow.
But what's also interesting is that you see significant contributions from Italy, Spain, even places like Sweden, Russia, and Denmark, Switzerland, Luxembourg too. It shows a pretty widespread adoption across Europe, not just the biggest economies.
Okay, widespread in Europe. But if we're going to talk about rapid expansion, Asia-Pacific seems to be the place.
Oh, absolutely. The growth there is explosive.
It started at around $380 million in 2021.
And it's projected to rocket past $1 billion, hitting nearly $1.2 billion by 2033.
That's incredible growth and the highest regional CGR too, right? Over 10%.
Yeah, 10.064%. It just points to this massive push to modernize supply chains across the region.
I mean, the sheer volume of goods moving through Asia.
Exactly. Manual inventory just can't keep up at that scale. China is absolutely leading the way there.
Expected to grow significantly.
Hugely. From about $115 million to over $370 million by 2033, driven by their massive manufacturing and, e-commerce sectors.
And Japan and India too.
Japan's looking strong, projected around $167 million, but India's growth rate is really impressive, over 11% CAGR individually, projected to reach almost $150 million by 2033 as its logistics and healthcare sectors boom.
So a real powerhouse region.
For sure. And South Korea, Australia, Singapore, they're all becoming significant players, too. It's a region really embracing this tech.
The momentum keeps going, though. What about South America?
Yep, another area with strong growth. Expected to go from around $84 million in 2021 to $250 million by 2033. That's a CAGR of 9.5%.
Which signals?
A big push towards digital transformation, in industry, in healthcare. Brazil's leading the pack there, projected over $100 million by 2033. Argentina and Colombia are following suit, streamlining supply chains, boosting security.
Okay.
Also on a strong upward path, growing from roughly $65 million to over $190 million by 2033.
What are the drivers there?
A lot of it is big infrastructure projects, plus a major focus on developing top-tier healthcare systems. Countries like Saudi Arabia, the UAE, Turkey, they're key contributors, really focusing on asset security and modern management.
Right. And finally, let's round out the globe with Africa.
Africa's market is smaller currently, but still projected to grow significantly, from about $40 million in 2021 to nearly $120 million by 2033.
So almost tripling as well.
Pretty much. South Africa is the main driver, expected to reach almost $50 million itself. But Nigeria and other parts of the continent are also investing as the need for efficient, secure inventory management becomes critical, especially as healthcare and logistics develop.
So if we step back and look at the big picture here, this global growth we've talked through, it's more than just a trend, isn't it?
Oh, absolutely. It's a fundamental shift in how industries are operating. This whole market is really set to revolutionize storage management everywhere.
Driven by...
Well, like we said, better healthcare tracking, the need for enhanced security, and just this overall push for automation and logistics. It's moving from being reactive, finding out something's missing, to being proactive, knowing exactly what you have, where it is, all the time.
And those big numbers, like that almost $4 billion market by 2033, they really translate into real-world impact, don't they?
Definitely. Think about it. That number represents thousands of hospitals potentially losing far less equipment, countless warehouses running way more efficiently. It's about making operations fundamentally better.
Yeah, that impressive TGR, over 9%, the way it's expanding everywhere from North America and Asia Pacific to, well, everywhere else. Countries like the U.S., China, India, Brazil, Saudi Arabia, South Africa, all contributing. It just underlines this clear, pressing global need.
It absolutely does. Which kind of brings us to a final thought, maybe for you, the listener.
Go on.
Well, given how these RFID smart cabinets are transforming asset management and security in so many critical areas, what other industries or maybe even aspects of daily life do you think could benefit from this kind of smart inventory control?
That's a good question.
And maybe how might that shape our future interactions with valuable items, perhaps in ways we haven't even touched on today? Something to think about.
Okay, think about this for a second. You're running a hospital, maybe, and you're trying to keep track of every single tiny, expensive surgical implant. Or maybe you're a defense contractor, right, with high-value stuff scattered everywhere. That constant headache of things going missing or just not knowing what you have right now, or even, the worry about security breaches for really critical assets. It's this background noise of inefficiency or risk that honestly can be a huge problem. So today we're going to do a deep dive into something built to fix exactly that. RFID Smart Cabinets. We've got some fresh research here from Cognitive Market Research, and we're going to unpack what's driving this tech, what's holding it back, and where it's headed. Our goal here is pretty simple, really. We want to give you the quick rundown what these things are, why they're suddenly getting so much traction, the challenges, and what's next. Sort of your shortcut to getting smart on this.
And it's worth getting smart on because the potential here, it's actually pretty massive. We're talking about a real shift in how valuable assets get managed across, well, quite a few different fields. It's a big step up from old school inventory lists.
All right, let's jump right in then. Cognitive market research says these cabinets, they're seeing some strong momentum. So first off, what exactly are they, and why the big surge in interest now?
Okay, so RFID Smart Cabinets, fundamentally, they use radio frequency identification, that's the RFID part, for really, really precise inventory tracking. And the main reason they're taking off, it's this growing need for real-time inventory visibility. You see it a lot in healthcare, pharmaceuticals too, hospitals, clinics, medical supply chains, they're jumping on this pretty quickly. Because think about it, they're tracking things like, expensive implants, surgical tools, critical drugs. Stuff you absolutely need to know is there. And it's not just knowing if it's there, it's about how it changes the whole audit process. Forget clumsy paper logs, right? Which are easy to mess up. Now, every time an item moves, it's logged digitally, automatically. It creates the solid, traceable record, really helps with regulations and just knowing the history of that item. It cuts down errors, boosts traceability, like a digital fingerprint for your stuff.
Okay, let's unpack that a bit. So it's not just knowing what you have, but knowing exactly where it is, like all the time,
Yeah.
instantly. Does that completely solve the problem of someone hunting for an item?
Well, it dramatically reduces the hunt, that's for sure. The impact is staff aren't wasting time searching. They're, doing their actual jobs, like patient care. It changes the workflow. And yeah, that precision, it ties right into another big driver, this whole wave of automation and the Internet of Things, IoT, that's sweeping through supply chains. These RFID cabinets, they're designed to plug right into existing company systems like ERPs or inventory management software. So you get automated tracking, yeah, but also automated restocking, smarter inventory management overall. And think bigger than just restocking. The system can actually start to learn usage patterns. Maybe predict you'll need more surgical implants before a planned increase in surgeries hits the schedule just based on past data. That's how organizations seriously cut down on shrinkage, inventory loss from theft, damage, whatever, and just run more efficiently.
Okay, efficiency, that's clear.
Yeah.
But you mentioned high-value assets, and my mind immediately goes to security. How do these things stack up there?
That's a really important question because, yes, the need for better security, for controlling who accesses valuable stuff, that's definitely fueling demand. Think about places like defense labs or hospital pharmacies, R&D centers, really sensitive environments. These cabinets offer like 24/7 monitoring. They log every single time someone opens them, takes something, puts something back. Access is restricted. It makes theft, loss, or just putting something in the wrong place way, way harder. It's kind of like a high-tech vault that also keeps perfect records.
Sounds incredibly tight. But, there's always the human element. Is it possible for someone determined to, game the system? Or is it pretty much foolproof against someone trying to get in without permission?
Look, no system is ever completely foolproof if someone is really determined, right?
Yeah.
But what these cabinets do is drastically shrink the opportunity for things to go wrong undetected. Every single access, every item movement, it's logged automatically. That creates an audit trail that's hard to argue with. It makes people accountable. It shifts from hoping someone did the paperwork right to having automated constant oversight.
Okay, that makes the value very clear. Huge advantages. But, like with any tech, there have got to be some roadblocks, some challenges slowing things down.
Oh, absolutely. And one of the biggest ones, according to the research from Cognitive Market Research, is simply the cost. The initial investment to buy the cabinets, the tags, the software, plus ongoing maintenance, It adds up. That total cost of ownership can be, well, pretty substantial. And that hits smaller and medium-sized businesses hardest, doesn't it? Especially maybe in developing regions where budgets might be tighter. That upfront cost can be a real barrier.
Yeah, those costs sound like a serious hurdle, especially for smaller operations. And when you talk about all this connectivity, these systems linking up, what about the data itself? Is that a concern?
Exactly. That's the other big one people worry about. Data privacy and cybersecurity. These systems, they often connect to the cloud or at least the internal company network. So if they aren't properly secured, they are vulnerable to breaches. And if someone gets unauthorized access or compromises the system, Well, you could be looking at sensitive medical data or maybe industrial secrets getting exposed. That's a huge risk.
Right, big picture risks. But are there also just sort of practical, day-to-day technical glitches, things that just don't work perfectly yet?
Yeah, there still are some, technical limitations like signal interference sometimes, maybe getting incorrect readings,
Yeah.
or trouble scanning tags if they're on items inside metal containers or near liquids. Those can be tricky for RFID. And then there's a broader issue. There isn't really one single standard for all the hardware and software. That lack of standardization makes it harder and sometimes more expensive to integrate these cabinets smoothly with whatever systems a company already uses. That definitely slows down wider adoption. Getting everything to talk nicely together can be a pain.
Okay, so we've got the power, we've got the hurdles. Let's shift gears now to the future. What trends are pushing this market forward? Maybe even helping overcome some of those challenges we just talked about.
Well, one of the really exciting trends cognitive market research points to is bringing in artificial intelligence. AI and machine learning, ML, AI-powered systems are starting to get really good at spotting usage patterns, like I mentioned, predicting shortages before they happen, and even automating the whole replenishment process. This is huge because it reduces the need for someone to constantly monitor levels and place orders. It really boosts efficiency, especially when you're managing a lot of items.
But that predictive capability, wow, how smart is it right now? I mean, can it really predict, say, a sudden spike in demand for something specific? Or are there limits?
It's getting better all the time. Current AI can look at historical data, yeah, but also factor in things like seasonality, maybe even external stuff like news reports about a flu outbreak to make pretty accurate forecasts. The limits usually come down to how much good data it has to learn from, and, totally unexpected events are still hard to predict perfectly, but it's constantly learning, and this adaptability, it makes you wonder. Is this tech going to stay mostly in healthcare, or is it spreading out?
Yeah, exactly what I was thinking. Healthcare seems like the natural home, but are other industries catching on?
They definitely are. What's fascinating here is seeing this surge outside healthcare. You've got aerospace, defense, manufacturing, even hospitality using them now. They're tracking tools on a factory floor, managing chemicals in a lab, even keeping tabs on employee uniforms in hotels. The reason is they're pretty adaptable. You can customize them. So businesses are realizing, hey, knowing exactly what we have, where it is, who used it last, that's valuable no matter what industry you're in.
And nowadays, being able to check on things remotely is just expected, isn't it? Is that happening here too?
Absolutely. That's the last big trend. The rise of cloud-based platforms and mobile apps for these RFID systems. It means you can monitor your inventory in real time from anywhere. These newer systems, they often come with fancy analytics dashboards. They can send you alerts on your phone if stock is low or if there's an issue, help with compliance reporting. All that remote capability, it's becoming essential, especially with more decentralized workforces. Management needs that visibility wherever they are.
Okay, so let's bring it all together. What does this really mean for you listening in? It seems like this RFID smart cabinet market, it's definitely buzzing,
Yeah.
driven by these core needs for efficiency, better security, and now this smart layer of AI.
But yeah, it's also a market wrestling with real challenges. Those high costs are still there. The cybersecurity risks need constant attention, and getting everything technically compatible, that's an ongoing effort. It's this constant push and pull between the amazing potential and the practical realities of making it work.
Right. And what this deep dive really shows, I think, is how these technologies, which might seem kind of niche, can actually have these huge ripple effects. From potentially improving patient outcomes in a hospital because the right drug is always there,
Hmm.
to making sure critical defense components are secure. It highlights that hidden tech infrastructure that makes so much tick.
And here's something to think about. As these smart systems, these cabinets become more common, how does that change the balance? The balance between, say, total control over assets and the convenience for the people using them. What new questions does that raise for how we'll manage physical things in a world that's just getting more and more connected?
Definitely something for you to mull over as you think about all the smart things popping up in your own world.